Hi, Ozzy here. In recent days, I've been hearing a lot of discussions within the great debate community about lies and whether it's always wrong to lie. And such discussions often arise in that context because many religious people hold to the view that their God never lies, either because he's unwilling ever to lie, or possibly because he is, by his very nature, incapable of lying or deceiving. Satan, we are told, is the father of lies, whereas God is truth itself, whatever that means. Such people are often fond of moral rules or principles which are categorical, that is, universal, unchanging, and exceptionless. Principles such as it's always wrong to lie appeal to them, even if the consequences of telling the truth are worse than if one were to lie. I've even heard people say that one should not play poker because one must bluff to win in poker, which is a form of deception, a lie. Such people, I submit, don't know what the truth is for and when it's to be valued, don't know when honesty matters and when it doesn't. So I thought I'd devote a few minutes here to talk about what a lie is and is not. Now, nothing I'm about to say is going to be especially insightful or even novel, but I hope it will serve to remind one about what it is we find so morally objectionable about certain lies and those whom we come to regard as liars. This morning, I saw a photo meme in my Google Plus feed. It was posted by a staunch anti-theist, and it read as follows, quote, "The most dangerous liars are those who think they're telling the truth," end quote. The most dangerous liars are those who think they're telling the truth. Now, there's something glaringly wrong about that, namely that if a person thinks he or she is telling the truth, then he or she is very likely not lying. This meme seems to equivocate between a lie and a mere falsehood. What's wrong with lying is not the telling of falsehoods, and it's not even the deception involved, but the intentions one has when one is lying or deceiving. To see the significance of this, it helps if we remind ourselves of the role of insincerity and intentions in the telling of lies. A lie is more than just telling a falsehood. We all communicate falsehoods whenever we are in error on some matter. We don't or shouldn't take umbrage when someone imparts a falsehood unintentionally. If a person utters a falsehood to us, but does so in all sincerity, it's not a deception, and so it's not a lie. So this shows that a falsehood isn't the same thing as a lie. Deception is necessary. But not all falsehoods are lies. Okay, so not all falsehoods are lies. But are all lies falsehoods? Well, no. Even that's not right. It is quite possible to lie to a person while telling him or her only true statements. One need only withhold some relevant fact to completely mislead a person. One can deceive and mislead without uttering a false sentence. Think of the story of the serpent in the Garden of Eden in the book of Genesis. That serpent character never actually utters a falsehood. One has to read quite a bit into that story to make him out to be telling a falsehood. Everything he says in that story is true, at least so far as it goes. But one can plausibly argue that the serpent is being deceptive, though even that requires a bit of reading into the story. Moreover, one can lie even when one tells only truths and the whole truth without withholding anything. Supposing a person tells you things that happen to be true, but he or she doesn't think they are true, and so is trying to make you believe what they, incorrectly, believe is a falsehood. Such a person is a liar, even though he or she has inadvertently uttered all and only truths. So one can even tell a lie in the morally worrisome sense by telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so long as they think that they are misleading you. What these facts show is that one of the relevant factors in what makes some lies morally offensive is the intentions that the person has, the reason he or she has for misleading you. We don't want to be played for fools. We don't want people exploiting us, literally attempting to impart a false model of reality to serve their own ends. When people do that, they're using us, exploiting our trust in them, treating us as a means to their own ends, rather than valuing us as ends in themselves. Now, to see the force of this, consider the opposite cases wherein we are lied to, but the person does so for our own benefit, not for the liar's own benefit. Think of when someone lies to you in order to have you show up someplace at a particular time on your birthday, so all your friends, family, and loved ones who are gathered together can throw you a surprise party. Such a person is deliberately trying to deceive you, to literally contaminate your belief set with things he or she knows to be false. He or she is even doing so to manipulate your actions. However, in the case of someone trying to get you to show up at the required time and place for your surprise birthday party, we recognize that the falsehoods, even the deliberate insincerity, the deliberate deception, and deliberate manipulation, was done for our own sake, not for the sake of the liar, not for their own selfish ends at our expense. And hence, it is even possible to have a case where everyone you know and trust is conspiring to deceive and manipulate you through lies, and yet feel gratitude for it. So I submit that not all lies are bad or immoral, and sometimes they can be positively good and even morally obligatory. What we hate about being lied to is that lies are typically done to serve the interests of the liar by exploiting what we come to believe. It's when our trust is exploited for the liar's own ends that we deplore and should deplore certain lies and those whom we call liars. It's the using and manipulating of people with words for the wrong reasons. That's what's objectionable. Most lies are told for that purpose, which is why lying is generally to be discouraged. But not all lies are bad, and some are even good. So lies are not just falsehoods. One can lie without uttering a single falsehood, and even by uttering the entire truth. And what makes lying wrong isn't even the intention to deceive, as in the birthday party example, but the reason for the deception. Everybody lies. That doesn't make you dishonest, despite what some apologists will tell you. The people we despise as liars are not those who merely tell falsehoods, or even those who deliberately deceive, but rather those who deceive for selfish reasons, who would make us believe what they think isn't true when it's not in our interest, but in theirs or someone else's interests. And by parity of reasoning, honesty is not mere truth-telling. What makes a person an honest person is not that he or she only tells the truth, but that he or she respects others and knows why to tell the truth, and so when to tell the truth, when to withhold the truth, and even when to lie. Honesty is a virtue. It consists of sincerity, coupled with the cultivated discernment and the learned judgment about when the truth is called for, and when one should bite one's tongue, and when one should speak with a forked tongue. Honesty is not a property of sentences. It's a property of a person. Specifically, it's a part of a person's character. And to you apologists out there, I'd ask you to consider this. If being an honest moral agent means that one knows when to mislead and when not to mislead, as I have argued, when it's called for and when it's not called for, well then an omniscient God would know that, and would know when he can lie and deceive. And then you won't have to struggle with those parts of your holy books that describe God as lying, misleading, and sending deceiving spirits. You won't have to deny that God lies. You won't have to bend the text. Telling lies doesn't all by itself make you dishonest. Why you tell lies is what makes you dishonest. In summary, simplistic categorical rules, such as lying is always wrong, are just clumsy approximations, mere rules of thumb about what one ought to do. But when one has cultivated the moral virtue of honesty, one has no need for such crude, overly simplistic rules. Categorical moral rules are for people who lack virtues. Okay, that's all for now. I thank you for listening, and I hope this helps.